right back into it. Preseason is in full effect, but everyone plays a little bit of fantasy football. So we're gonna help you guys out, maybe scheme a little bit, and you guys also may get a chance to join a little fantasy football league with us and see who wins. Y'all do have a little bit of a cheat code because we're kind of giving you a little bit of the answers right here. But Koa, we're gonna start with quarterbacks. Who are your 3 must-have quarterbacks in fantasy football?
Okay, I'll say like my one, like de facto, like one guy that you should. I do think that Kellen Moore coming into Justin Herbert's life is going to introduce a little bit. Like, I think we're going to see a different level of Justin Herbert. You still know that he has one of the best fantasy running backs, Austin Eckler. And then you have, of course, Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Of course, they have injury issues. But they got Quentin Johnson, so they have some weapons over there. I do think that Justin Herbert this year, if you find him, maybe in the 5th, 6th round, very high upside for him for an elite borderline quarterback. And then
you think Justin Herbert is going to go all the way to the 5th or 6th round?
Okay, maybe 4th. Maybe 4th. I mean, it's people sleep on quarterbacks, man. But
They do. And I'm actually gonna go second, so we'll go back and forth here. We'll go back and forth. Okay. So your first quarterback is Herbert. That's your must-have pick. So my must-have pick, it's so crazy. None of us picked Patrick Mahomes, and I felt like that was gonna be like the must-have for everybody. But to me, it's Lamar Jackson, and here's why. I think it's the complete revenge season for Lamar Jackson. He finally has a stable offense, but the offense honestly always is going to run through him because he's one of the most talented guys the NFL has seen. You got Odell Beckham, Zay Flowers on the other side. And I like Todd Monken running this offense too. So it has a little bit more structure, uses a lot of the tight ends. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lamar Jackson's throwing stats get a little bit better and he wins MVP. He's my pick to win MVP. I think he'll be really dominant. We don't know when Joe Burrow's coming back. So I feel like he'll have a really good chance to run that division. And I think this will be probably one of his best seasons. So it's not honestly a sleeper pick. He should go high. But if you can pick first, pick Lamar Jackson.
First pick? Interesting. My second quarterback is kind of a low risk, high reward, but Geno Smith. I do think that Geno Smith.
You don't mind too.
Now this guy may be like a 6th, 7th round pick, but very great value. I do think that the weapons that we saw the Seattle Seahawks add with already having DK and Tyler Lockett, that's already a top 5 receiver duo right there. You have Noah Fant, who had a pretty decent season. You have Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, and you even got boy from the Bulldogs 6th round, Kenny McIntosh. Yeah, you got some pieces on that offense that if Geno Smith can just prove to us that it wasn't a fluke, we can see some really nice numbers from Geno Smith. And we already know that division's basically only one other team is in the way, and that's San Francisco. So pretty wide open division. Geno Smith, he actually had 74.7% of his passes were deemed catchable, which was 3rd in the league. So,
not to mention he finished 4th in passing touchdowns, only behind Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow throwing 30 touchdowns. So I mean, honestly, he had an extremely underrated season. He was the 4th rated quarterback. He threw in touchdowns, but didn't finish in that top 10 of quarterbacks. So I mean, he's a very underrated pick, like you said. But I mean, he could be very valuable, especially with Tyler Lockett back there, who is the best receiver on that team. That I'll say, yeah. And, I think his second year with Pete Carroll should be interesting. A lot of people are going to say maybe last year was a fluke. But, I mean, Pete Carroll has kind of been the quarterback whisperer over the time. So I think Geno Smith will honestly continue. And if that's a sleeper pick, I'm picking Geno as well. I'll go 3rd. I think the 3rd's obvious. If you can get Patrick Mahomes, get Patrick Mahomes. Literally, when you think about a quarterback who may start off slow, which is one of my only things about Kansas City Chiefs, they do start off really slow, especially Mahomes sometimes. But when he gets going, I mean, you see he led the league in touchdowns. He basically makes every throw possible. If you can't get Patrick Mahomes, which is, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's a top 5 pick. You go get Patrick Mahomes as well.
Quarterbacks? You take quarterbacks in the first round? That should be your running backs and your receivers. You should get your quarterbacks after. It's not like the
That's
real
just
NFL
me.
draft.
That's just me. I gotta get my quarterback to set my foundation.
I mean, I guess. My third is actually kind of your new guy, but I've been had this guy, Danny Dimes. I do think also same tier with like Geno Smith. You could find him kind of in the later rounds, but it's not just it's not really the arm. It's also it's both. He's honestly a dual threat. He had over 700 yards rushing last year, and you add Darren Waller and Jalen Hyatt already to a team that has Saquon Barkley now. I mean, that's not a question mark anymore. So we all know that offense goes as Saquon goes, and I think that Daniel Jones, building on from last year, proving the doubters wrong, I think that we can see some steady improvements from Daniel Jones next year. So if you see him, pick him up. Dual threats are the move for fantasy football. Get them points, man.
Dual threats are just the move, period, as the NFL is kind of transformed into what it is. My only question about Daniel Jones is, will it be so much of Saquon? Like last year, Saquon Barkley was majority of that offense. Is he going to be handing it off to Saquon so often that maybe his stats are kind of underwhelming? Because one of the quarterbacks that kind of mirrors that style but is better than Daniel Jones, I think, is Jalen Hurts. But none of us said Jalen Hurts because we know how run heavy the Eagles can get. And as good as Jalen Hurts was, he didn't throw that many touchdowns. So, I mean, you kind of have to think of scheme as well.
They only have 15 touchdowns. No, but one sleeper quarterback I did want to say was the number 4 overall pick, Anthony Richardson. If he starts week 1,
we're gonna have to have an episode about Anthony Richardson because I don't believe in Anthony. He only had 12 starts in college, and I don't think I don't know if he'll start for the Indianapolis Colts this season, probably because they're trying to reserve him because the offensive line, they're kind of weird, and no Jonathan Taylor this year. So he's going to have a lot of room to make mistakes. He's going to have to throw the ball a whole lot, and I'm not sure he could really do that because I didn't really see that when he played at foot.
He uses leg. I mean, he
uses his legs, sure. A lot of quarterbacks can use their legs, though. That doesn't make you good.
I mean, true. I mean, I guess I'll just say that it would all be predicated if Jonathan Taylor was on the field. If he's not on the field, then hell, there's no way. There's no way.
I don't know, man. So that's gonna be interesting.